Freud's theory of penis envy has aged both terribly and excellently.
Welcome back to the Rogue Academic Podcast. It is no surprise to any of us that higher ed is a bit of a cesspool of gatekeepy good old boys, and our guest today has some interesting takes on why that is and how we can get around it. He had a rocky sort of experience in higher ed, as did I, but interestingly, we went to the same school and we're sort of on the opposite side of the coin. While I was doing everything right, he was doing everything wrong, and we both ended up in the same place thinking that higher ed is BS, and people should just go out and do what they want to do and be happy doing it. So, with no further ado, this is Brandon Hall, my dear friend of over 15 years and psychology specialist. All right. Thank you so much for being here, Brandon. It has been for fucking ever since we have hung out and actually talked about life, the universe, and everything.
Indeed it has.
Dude, I'm like one of the reasons I wanted to bring you on this show is because the Brandon that I know from like fucking 10, 15 years ago, like had all the same ideas and fucking fire behind it, but didn't have nearly as many words as you have now. Like, I'm not gonna fucking lie to you. Like, the first time that I sat down with you on the phone to like talk about like doing this podcast, and you were like, and here's all the things I want to talk about, and here's all the research, and here are all the words, and I was just like, holy shit, Brandon leveled up so hard. Like, this is gonna be awesome. You're the same guy, just with like more words. I fucking love it.
Even more? Huh.
Even more. And better ones. More clear ones.
They are better and clearer, yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, for anybody out there listening, Brandon and I have known each other for about 15 years, and we have been through fucking everything together. But what got us in the same room with one another initially was that we both had the misfortune of choosing trumpet as our main instrument at a school that hated jazz.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. So there were a few people there that really loved jazz versus everyone else. Yeah,
dude, totally. So like you were a Missouri native, right? Like you had lived most of your life in Missouri, so you knew that, and you still went to that school and tried to do jazz. Why did you try to major there?
It makes no sense though. On the other hand, because like the school is located like literally halfway between the stomping grounds of Count Basie and Miles Davis. Like,
dude, how? I know. It makes no sense. So why did you choose trumpet as your major in the first place? Because like I feel like even in your heart of hearts, you knew they were going to make you play the Artunian.
Well, I didn't know any of that back then, actually, Lexie, like, to be honest.
Yeah.
I chose trumpet as a major. I chose music education as a major because it's, at the time, you know, it was 2005, and it was, okay, how do I turn what I've been doing for the last however many years, like this part of my identity, right? Like the high school band kid, how do I turn that into a living? Because that was the whole deal back then, you know, like work a job you love. Like I think you hit on that in episode 0. Do a job you love, you'll never work a day in your life. The biggest bullshit lie of the 1990s.
Facts.
But the thing is though, I went to high school in rural Missouri, right? And like I think the student body total was like 400. But what was unique about where I grew up was that we had a high school band director who was just incredible. And so out of that 400 kids in the total student body, the band population was 120.
Damn.
That's an obscene percentage for anyone who lives in the music education world. Like that's a hugely high percentage of band enrollment. And it was a really solid program, right? Like I remember you talking in your origin story about how like growing up, like you kind of had it, right? Like you kind of had like you had all these familial connections, and like you just like you lived and breathed music, so like you dominated, right?
Yeah, and it was like the only thing I was good at, for the record.
So that's how I felt too. Was like this is the only thing I'm good at, but like I also didn't dominate. I didn't have any of that background. Like man, I had rivals, and my rivals were my best friends.
Dude, that's awesome.
So there was this like community of like, I don't know, friendly competition amongst us like coming up, but like it was the culture that was created by growing up in that school where 120 kids in band out of 400 student body, it was a culture I wanted to perpetuate.
Hell yeah. Like
If
that's
that
a
makes
great
sense.
like blueprint. Like I can't imagine any kid being in that environment and not wanting to replicate it, you know? Like cuz I feel like innately people who are called to the field of education are helpers, are people who like
Yep.
view themselves as having been called to a service of humanity, and
Yep.
like that
Totally.
totally tracks. So then you decided to do the music education thing at Mizzou,
Yeah.
and like that seems like it would be just like a ballpark win. Like you knew what you were going for, and like the execution should have been easy, probably.
Right. But I also had no idea I had ADHD and possibly autism.
What? You're undiagnosed too? What?
I'm half diagnosed. I ain't going for that second one right now in this day and age. I'll tell you that shit.
Dude, I hear that so much. So, like, did you finish the degree as planned, like
No.
in 4 years, and like all was well? Like, what happened?
Yeah. So not even close. Here's the thing about the 4-year music education degree. It is actually a double major, but nobody tells you that.
Of course
You're
not.
double majoring in music and in education.
Mm-hmm.
And then also there's these crossover classes that are like ostensibly like where they teach you how to teach kids to play the instruments that you don't know how to play, basically like your methodology classes, right?
Mm-hmm.
That are like specifically music ed. But like, it's a double major.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone thinks their thing is the most important thing.
Right.
And so you get pulled in a billion different directions. And it's, let's see, how do I put this?
I mean, on paper, the major is like, and they're like actively, they being like universities at large, are actively trying to pare this down. But like that is a whole argument where it's just like, okay, your average music education major is 120 credits in 4 years. Fuck that. And you're not even allowed to like work
Like,
an
I
actual
definitely
job
had a
while you're
multiple-
student teaching. Like the fuck.
Oh, right. That. Yeah. Like I had a number of 18, 21 credit hour semesters.
Mm-hmm. Easily.
I tell people that as a psychology major now, and they're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
What?
Are you
what?
high?
What?
Yeah.
What?
No. No, totally. And like there are, and I don't know where I sit on this argument, to be perfectly frank, because like I came through a program that was excellent by any standard. I completed my 126 credit hours and I did it in record time, but I was also a fucking psycho who really thought that I was going to have like a job and things lined up for me afterward. Boy, how wrong I was. But like that program was extremely rigorous and I felt extremely well prepared by that program. Administrators now are trying to pare down music education programs to like 80 credits, but then they're like leaving out really important shit in the name of the bean counting, and it's like, come on guys, you can't just cut 2 whole years of music theory because you might need that, you know. You can't cut like 5 methods classes just because it's not time efficient.
So that's what sucks about the dichotomy, right?
Right.
Yes, there was a ludicrous overwhelm of classes that I needed to take if I was going to get that degree done in 4 years. But also, I mean, like, I'm tapping my brain to find one that was like that I can genuinely say was wholly irrelevant, and I ain't coming up with anything.
Yeah, that's the point. Right?
The information is real important, and knowing how to do all the things you got to know how to do if you're going to be a band director, like that's important. You should get that from your degree, but also on the other hand, where are we tapping into like what it's like reasonable for one person to know how to do, right? Like my grandma, all right. So my grandma, she died not summer 2020, summer 2024. And that was hard for me.
Sure.
She always said this thing growing up, you go to college to get an education, not for job training.
Damn,
and this was a particularly
That?
bizarre. Yep.
Wow. Okay. All right.
And this was a bizarre thing to hear in the early 2000s when you pick your major based on the job you want when you come out of it, right?
Right. So it seems logical that they would do some job training, you know?
Yeah. And we expect that from our schools, like, because like that is how college, and like, especially at least our age, like we're fucking millennials. We did all this shit in the fucking mid 2000s.
You know, that's the bill of goods that they
Right.
send out to everybody. Like, oh, come to our place because you will be so prepared going into the field. The fuck you will.
Which I want to pick your brain on that, like regarding your story about getting fucking demoted to recruitment
That's a
in
good
Indiana
story.
State. Like, I would really love to see behind that curtain, like
Oh,
what your
gladly.
job requirements were for what were you required to sell to kids,
Oh
right? And
man.
let's take that back and apply it to what we were sold.
Dude, right? Oh my god. That whole story could like definitely produce a 3-hour episode.
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of those, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. And it's totally fine. But back to like your journey. So when I met you, you were on I think victory lap 2 of 4
Yeah, yeah.
ish.
I should not. Had I graduated on time, we would have never met.
You
So I
know,
guess
thanks for
thanks, music
thanks
education
for
program.
struggling so hard. Like normally I would make a joke because I know Brandon really well. I'm like, thanks for being a fuck up. But
I accept that. Yeah, I love it. I love that.
but that if we look at it objectively, knowing what we know now, it was not that you were a fuck up. It was that you were an undiagnosed autistic slash person with ADHD that had
Yep.
some serious fucking problems with authority because of the way that program was executed. In my
Yeah.
opinion, this is the outside looking in. Like, I'm not here to tell your
Yep.
story for you, but this is what I saw as a fellow educator who had been teaching in
Well,
the public
bro, I
school system
appreciate that, though.
before I came to Mizzou.
Yeah.
Like that's what I saw, and I saw the system failing you even then.
And
But
it wasn't
I
'cause
don't know
couldn't
the other
play, like,
side.
let's face it.
No, I don't know the other side though.
The other side is that I didn't realize that there was a system failing me. The
Mhm.
other side is that I didn't realize that despite the fact that I hesitate to say fact, but the intuition, like my observation that arts programs pull neurodivergent people, right? Like
Mhm.
it's sort of a magnet, right?
Yeah.
Like we're drawn to it.
Oh yeah.
Also, going back to the idea of rigor, right?
Mhm.
Some academic ideas of rigor sort of definitionally punish neurodivergence.
Mhm.
Like, let's look at the idea of diligence and consistency. Yeah, I don't
Good luck
really
with
do that. Yeah, that ain't me. That ain't me.
Like, didn't you have a jury where you basically just deliberately didn't practice and then aced the fucking thing?
Yeah, that was. I did a little sort of psychological experiment on myself where, I mean, I did not give a shit about this piece, and that was kind of the thing with juries at large, right? Like,
Right.
it's you gotta learn this because it's canon, and it doesn't super matter if you have any personal connection to it.
Mhm.
So I didn't care about this piece,
Mhm.
but I was like kind of eating shit on it, and like literally the lesson the week before the jury, like I just categorically could not play the thing. Like, I'm not even gonna lie about it. I couldn't play it. I couldn't play it.
Right. And I'm sure it helped
And
so
so
much
there were
that
some
the teacher was
altercations.
probably like, "But you have to play this piece.
Yeah.
Like you don't have a choice.
There,
You must
there,
play this one."
there were altercations. Yeah, there were altercations about it, of course.
Of
But
course.
eventually, I was just like, all right, I'm not going to practice this because I don't care about it. I do not want to play this piece.
Mhm.
I have no personal desire to do it. Yet, like, existentially, part of my like livelihood depends on it because, especially the first time you're in school before you have any life experience, your grades are tantamount to your paycheck,
Uh-huh.
right? That your grades are tantamount to your success. So, like, all right, I have to do something. So, and this was in the iPod days, the ones that didn't connect to the internet.
Woo! We love those.
And I just fucking pulled up the source recording for my jury piece, and I exclusively listened to that for the week, like coming out of that like fuck that like lesson where I couldn't play it.
Mhm.
I literally listened to nothing but the piece until my jury.
Mhm.
I roll into the jury, and I don't super know how this happened, but I just kind of crushed it.
Yeah,
Like,
because the subconscious
I
mind
cou-
creates your own reality. You programmed your subconscious mind to kill the fucker.
but I had no idea that would work back then.
Of course,
Because
yeah.
back then, the way we were being taught was like, nothing in your head matters. Only what you do with your body matters.
Oh,
Get your
so
ass in
true.
the shed.
Oh,
Go practice for 8
God.
hours.
Oh, trumpet
Like,
teachers, if you're listening, please stop doing that shit. It's stupid.
it's not efficient. It's not fucking efficient. If you can't figure out in your head how you're going to.
Exactly.
But on the other hand, though, Lexie, maybe not everybody else can do that. Maybe just we can do that because I mean, I don't know, you talk about superpowers in your TED talk, right? And
Yeah.
like that was one of those things that like hit me like a fucking ton of bricks.
Yeah,
We do have certain superpowers,
we do.
and those are not always appreciated relative to the deficits it like we pay in order to have those superpowers, if that
Right.
makes sense.
Oh no, it absolutely does, because the world in which we live is geared toward the neurotypical, not the neurodivergent. And
Right.
neurodivergence is seen as a disability, and it's not, straight up. Um,
Especially not in fucking music.
no, and what is interesting about that is that music, art, and other creative endeavors, all, as we said before, like largely attract people who are neurodivergent. So, like,
Yep.
why couldn't most people do as you just described, right?
Why shouldn't the structure for educating artists be more neurodivergent inclusive?
Right?
Why and if like at the very fucking least, why wouldn't you at least try to stop punishing neurodivergence?
Yeah. Oh my god, totally. Like, do you feel like there were instances in your lessons that like proved to be hurdles where you were just sort of being punished for being outside the norm?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and not just, but except not just lessons, like my experience as a whole. And like to be totally fair to the like overall faculty at the time I was there were definitely some folks that loved me for this. There were
Oh yeah.
definitely few and far between. Like there are a few like there are a few folks that just that were on board that liked me and the way I comported myself. But like systemically speaking, yeah, it wasn't set up for me.
Yeah, totally.
It was in many ways set up to weed me out, me and people like me.
However, to your credit, it took them how many years to finally just get you to like peace out and be like, "All right, clearly this
6.
isn't working." 6 fucking years?
It took them 6 years, and they also had to cash me out. I had to run out of money.
Oh shit. Oh my god. I didn't
Yep.
realize it took that long.
Yep.
Oh
six
my
years, and
god.
it was just because my federal student loan availability dried up because I had exhausted it right like after year 5, and like
Yeah.
just like my credit was atrocious, and I had no more access to money, and
Yeah.
that's what finally got me out of there.
Funny thing how universities only want your money and don't really care about like the outcome. Like they have
Yeah.
zero, they actually have zero skin in the game as far as like having their students go out and be successful. Like they pretend they do. Cuz so that they can ask you for money later. But they actually have
Well,
nothing invested in whether or not a student gets a degree and is able to use that degree to make money and live a good life for themselves.
I see that and raise you. All right. What I'm going to say is, at least from
Okay.
my perspective, universities have enormous vested interest in producing a certain type of graduate, a
Ooh.
branded graduate, if you will, a graduate from the University of X.
Yeah.
The University of X creates graduates that you can rely on for X, Y, and Z. And those that you can't rely on, well, we won't let them graduate. We as a university, the most marketable thing we could do is generate dependable employees. And so if you're not a dependable employee because you have individual thought and creativity and you want to change
Ooh.
the place you're working at,
Uh-huh.
that rocks the boat, don't it?
Mm-hmm. You are not wrong. You are not wrong. I haven't thought about it in that context, but that is true. Like, I mean, I will preface what I'm about to say by saying that I loved my professors at IU. Like those
Yeah.
motherfuckers are the real shit. Like I loved every single one of them. But IU does that. They call it the IU connection, and it's not untrue
Yep.
from a networking standpoint. But like they really do
Right?
pride themselves on, well, if you have a degree from the Jacobs School of Music, you can be trusted
Yep.
to do X, Y, and Z.
Yep.
Um, and
Because we have conditioned them to
uh-huh.
do so.
That's right.
The culture mints the graduate.
Oh no, totally.
The rigor is simply marketing.
Facts. So, okay. So they finally sort of wore you down, or wore the money down and what have you. And then you're in
Yeah.
Colorado now, right?
Yep.
Okay. And so like you made a pivot. Like in my recollection, you'd always been working some kind of day job, like just to, keep bills paid and whatnot. What made you
Yeah.
want to go into, you're studying psychology now, right?
Yes,
Okay.
I am a third-year psychology student at a community college for a 2-year associate's degree. I'm taking my damn time this time, and it's working out a little bit better than just running, like getting in the maze and running the race.
Nice. Okay. That's awesome. So like
Yeah.
making that pivot then, like are you seeing like someone could argue that like, oh, so you're taking a victory lap here too? Oh, well, isn't that interesting?
Hmm.
But like are you seeing any parallels or like any cracks in the foundations of like the way you're being taught that are like similar to why, how music students are being taught? What are those failures in your opinion? Or what are those like triumphs? I mean, if there's good things, let's talk about good things too.
So the short answer is no and yes.
Okay, great.
No, no, in that the particular school, like I hit the fucking jackpot with my school, dude. Like I like to be real, like the community college that I'm at is in many ways sort of antithetical
Mhm.
to the state university experience I had when I was, when I was younger.
Mhm.
Um, I've had like I've had a lot of great professors. I've had a lot of great professors who like subscribe. It appears at least it appears that they subscribe less to the overall academic culture, and they're more free to be themselves.
Mhm.
They teach the material in a way that relates to themselves, and therefore and that translates, right? Like,
Do you think that's a luxury of them being a community college versus having like a shit ton of state funding and being beholden to the administration? Like what do you think allows
well,
that?
I mean, and the term luxury there, as you use it, is something that I think we need to dive way harder on as we go on, right? Because it
Right?
is, well, I don't know about luxury, but it is a dichotomy: money versus freedom.
Oh, isn't that funny? It's like the people with the gold make the rules. Ha ha ha, weird.
Yep. Like, all right, like for example, like I'm taking an ethics course this semester, and without getting too much into the details of it, like we were asked to apply feminist ethics to this PBS Frontline Expo on this woman that ended up in kind of, wasn't Syria, was it? Or Morocco? It ended up in ISIS, like living with ISIS
Mhm.
because like she like ostensibly followed her husband there, and the
Mhm.
FBI was on her ass
Whoa.
because she, quote unquote, like moved money around and aided and abetted terrorism. But like we were watching this video, and it's like, no, this chick just got fucking trafficked. Like that's all there is to it.
Uh-huh.
Like combining what we had learned, like what we were covering in that very ethics class with coursework I was doing, like my other coursework,
Uh-huh.
empathy course, and that was for my behavioral health certification.
Uh-huh.
And like me and my friend, like classmate, like we were just like, no, she got fucking trafficked, and like we're gonna go to the mat on this shit. And
Mhm.
so we show up to ethics the next day, and we go to the mat on it. Like we're like, no, like there is no the only ethically problematic detail of this woman's involvement with ISIS is that she was fucking trafficked, and
Mhm.
there's no question about it. And this was not what we were supposed to take
Mhm.
initially
Okay.
from this assignment, right?
Love it when
But
that
we
happens.
go in, and yeah, we were supposed to more or less side with the presentation of the PBS Frontline like narrative, right? Like
Uh-huh.
this chick is like she's dubious, she's not like reliable, like she's this like Nebraska Midwest party chick, right?
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
they're trying to paint her as like kind of irresponsible as fuck and like not
Uh-huh.
thinking things through. But
Uh-huh.
no, she just got fucking trafficked. And so we go to the mat on that position. And by the time the argument is over, my ethics professor reversed his position. And he then changed the assignment throughout all the other courses he teaches at other community colleges. Because guess what? He's adjunct faculty at like 4 schools. Sucks for everybody out there. But the dude, even given that, right? Like,
Yeah.
there is no quote unquote prestige there, right? Like, he's a working dude. Like,
Right?
he works at like 4 different schools, and he reversed his position.
That's awesome.
He had the intellectual integrity to listen to the people he's teaching and apply the same principles that he's teaching, and concludes that he was initially wrong.
Which do you think that is likely to happen at a larger school where there's more money involved, or do you like what I mean?
I've seen it happen maybe half a dozen times
Yeah.
career in times I've been in classrooms. And as a nearly 40-year-old man, I have spent way too many years of my life in classrooms,
Right?
right?
Oh my God,
And I've seen
totally.
it happen maybe half a dozen times.
Hmm.
It was inspiring. It was genuinely inspiring. Like that is academic integrity, in my opinion.
No, absolutely. And like to continue down the road of ethics, like I think there are some questions that like deserve to be raised about our biases as teachers, our biases as people, of
Yep.
course. Um, do you think that like as a person who like and I don't want to speak for you and how you identify, but like I know you to be of mixed race, you know, do you think that
Yeah.
there were certain biases like levied against you in academic situations that were unfair due to those assumptions?
Eh, actually, like I passed pretty hard for white. Like, uh,
Okay.
watashi no oji-san wa Nihonjin desu. My grandfather's Japanese,
Right.
so like that's how diluted out it is,
Okay.
right? I passed pretty hard for white. That I don't recall, like, or if it was a problem, I didn't notice due to the aforementioned neurological
Got you.
wiring
Okay.
flavor, right? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I was just
The
thinking
the
because like
the
Missouri is not exactly friendly to people who identify as other. You know what I mean?
no, no, not at all.
You
No,
know.
not at all.
So
And
like I
well,
was
and
just
so
curious there.
there is that sort of like cultural then pressure to figure out how to be yourself within the confines of like what's acceptable,
Right, right.
you know?
Yep. Exactly. So like as far as like biases within the system or like really ethics questions, going back to your comment from your grandmother that, college is meant to be, training in a subject but not vocational training. Do you think it's ethical for colleges to keep letting people in just to make a buck when they know damn well that they're gonna struggle when they get out as far as like actually making a living is concerned? Because they don't seem to want to help anybody or teach them any useful skills to help them actually make a living.
So this is the question of culpability. Let me pull up, where is this? Thompson's trolley.
Mm.
Thompson's trolley problem. All right. So like just to briefly describe the trolley problem in ethics slash psychology, it's the idea is you are the driver of control of a trolley. You cannot apply the brakes. It's out of control. The only thing you can do is choose which track it goes down, and then
Hmm.
coming up in front of you, one track has 5 folks on it tied to it, and the other track has a single person
Hmm.
tied to it,
Hmm.
right? And so the ethical dilemma is like, what do you do? Do you kill the one to save the 5?
Hmm.
Thompson's trolley takes that lever to
Hmm.
divert the switch
Sorry about my
and puts
dog
it
if
in
you
the
can hear him.
hands. Yeah, you're good. It puts it in the hands of a bystander
Uh-huh.
who isn't the driver of the trolley.
Hmm.
Therefore, and the distinction is that if you're the driver of the trolley, no matter what, you're responsible for killing at least one person.
Right.
If you are the bystander, the trolley is on track to hit the 5. If you choose to divert it, it will only hit 1.
Hmm.
But if you make a choice, you have now killed a minimum of 1 person. If
Sure.
you do nothing, you have technically made no choice that killed anybody.
Hmm.
You just stood by.
Okay.
So if we take Thompson's trolley and apply it to the idea of colleges recruiting for numbers
Hmm.
and then not helping them through,
Hmm.
it's Thompson like the college where the college is like living in the moral gray area is are they the driver of the trolley or are they the bystander next to the lever?
Right.
Because the incoming students arguably are the driver.
Yeah, you could look at it that way.
And if you as the bystander pull that lever to kill one to save the 5, that could be tantamount to recruiting 6 knowing one is going to fail.
Sure. But I mean, if you look at the numbers, like the actual just sheer numbers of it, and I'm not saying that this falls on any one person in any one college to like think about this, right? But, there are at the doctoral level about 1,500 graduates every single year. And those people would, in theory, be the most qualified to take any one position as a faculty member at a high
Sure.
level university, or frankly a low level university that requires a doctorate,
Sure.
right? So that's every year it's 1,500 people, and just recently a very high level trumpet job just opened up. And
Sure.
so in theory, you've got 1,500 people across the United States, just the United States, that would all be going out for that job, right?
Right.
Now you magnify
And so
that by the 22 years that it would take for you to wait around for someone to retire or die. In this case, this person's retiring. So now you magnify that 1,500 people by 22 years. Now you have that many
Yep.
more people that are trying to get
Yep.
that job. And then you have
Yep.
to subtract all the people that didn't go to the right school, that aren't the right color, that aren't the right connected, that don't have the right pedigree, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, that are all going out
Ooh,
for
we gotta
that
talk about pedigree.
one job. One job.
Yep.
So,
So
like, what?
who's on what side of the trolley in
Right?
this construction?
Right? Exactly. No, that's the question.
So on the one side of the trolley, the ostensibly correct moral decision, if you are the recruiting, if you're in charge of recruiting at your school, you're in charge of developing the program of your school.
Mhm.
Your school is the one person on the trolley,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And the 5 people on the other side of the trolley are this conundrum that you're talking about,
Mhm.
this hopelessness of it, those
Mhm.
overarching market forces that, oh well, I can't control, so I'm going to pull the lever in a way that benefits me.
Mhm.
Like, I personally consider it a little unethical, but on the other hand,
Right?
are you going to tell people who show up as a fucking 18-year-old freshman and they can play their horn? Are you going to tell them sorry, dude, our projections indicate that by the time you're done, there won't be enough jobs. So why don't you just move along?
Or
Fuck elitism.
to add to
Fuck
that,
elitism.
why don't you include things that would help them be more employable is my point. Yeah, you could be
Employable.
as honest with them as you want, or as not honest with them as you want. But
Mm.
our projections indicate that there will not be a job in this specific field for you by the time you graduate. But because we have that information, we are also requiring this small block of business entrepreneurship classes, whatever it is that would make
There
sense
we
for that
go.
major, to help that
Yep.
person survive. Really, when
To help
you
that
make an
person.
investment in your education, you're making an investment in your survival. And I feel like that's the
Yep.
breakdown that universities are not willing to cop to, right?
Also, we're making an investment in our souls against our souls.
Yeah.
When you major in an artistic thing, you're putting your soul on the line,
Yeah.
right? You're
And your
fucking.
mental health.
I mean, yeah, yeah. You're putting your soul on the line, and so you have to get some return on soul investment back out of it as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where they're sort of the job mismatches and whatnot. Well, we're talking about orchestral jobs, right? Or university faculty teaching jobs,
Well,
or
the projected traditional track, right?
These jobs that are sort of incestuous to the culture in and of itself,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah.
And so I think what you're speaking to is the idea that it isn't a part of a college curriculum to teach folks how to take their art and make something they want out of it,
Mm-hmm.
how to take it and do what you want with out of it. And I'm really, financially speaking, definitely not the best person to speak on this, because
Me
I
either.
have historically not really made. I've never made what you would call a living, and I'm going to define that as actually paying all your bills on time.
Sure.
That's the bare minimum.
Sure.
I've never in my life made a living playing music.
Right.
I've done some cool shit with music.
Right.
I fielded a couple of really cool bands.
Yeah.
And I couldn't have done any of that without my friends and the connections I made when I was at school. But that had nothing to do with the curriculum.
Yeah.
It had to do with how we were all coping with dealing with the curriculum.
Bingo. And so I really wanted to ask you about that too, because now I would say that as a person going to school for psychology, you would probably consider yourself some level of expert on mental health and, coping with stressors. And so looking back on it,
I have a weird relationship with the word expert, but that's cool. Go
yeah,
ahead.
right. Well, I mean, you have more expertise than I do. So looking back on it
Experience,
then,
maybe.
well, there you go. So looking back on it, do you feel like your ability to create musical systems that did work were coping mechanisms for dealing with the stressors of a system that was so fundamentally broken that it was like not letting you continue down that path. Like, was that a coping strategy, or was that you just being so pissed off that like all these people told you no that you decided to fucking spite them, or both? It could be both.
To be real, dude, you just like sort of helped me figure that out, because like I wasn't
You're welcome.
sure.
I do have a doctorate. It's just not in psychology.
Well, like, but like, there was definitely a part of like, I'm not sure I realized I was doing like part of me was doing it consciously, and part of it wasn't.
Sure.
But whenever I was building Columbia Jazz Orchestra, for example, or like working for Collegiate Czech Brass Band, and like trying to figure out how I wanted to use my influence in those places, like in retrospect, a lot of it was like I did get taught what not to do,
right,
by my school culture.
Mm-hmm.
I did learn that diligence and shame are not everything. If you want people to okay, I'm gonna put it this way. If you're running a volunteer organization, it's gonna be fucking fun for people to show up, or else they're not gonna show up.
Facts.
That's just all there is to it.
Yep.
This is the basic motivation. If you're not motivating them to be there with currency, you gotta have some other kind of currency to motivate them to be there.
Yep.
And lacking money, the experience of being there is the best possible currency. And so like I think that's what led me to build the systems that I built / helped build in the way that I did. Like it was
like on the outside looking in, it looked like a spite build, and I'm 100% here for that. Like, I mean, because there were so many people that told you no and didn't want to pay you, and I like at every single juncture, you're like, "Fuck you, I'm gonna do it anyway," and I'm like, "Hell yeah, guy, go."
Yep, and like it's awesome that you see it that way, because I wasn't like. In retrospect, I'm not sure that I was looking at it that way at the time, but like there is definitely that aspect of like, well, I'm not doing it that way. And if I truly believe that X, Y, and Z methodology that I saw in school doesn't work, then I should be able to apply that by doing A, B, and C, which are anti X, Y, and Z.
Right.
And if I'm right about their method being fucked up, and doing the opposite of that should work. Mm-hmm. And well, I mean, my results have been my results.
But, you know, like, and we were talking about this earlier, like by many standards, I have done everything right. I went to school, I got all the degrees, including a terminal degree. And, you know, I followed the rules and I played nice and that, and this, that, and the other thing. And I did get a college job, but then I found out that it was bullshit. And like, that's its own whole story. And if you want to check that out, check out episode 0. But sure. I am in the same place that you are, and I did everything right. So like, interesting sort of dichotomy there, you know what I mean? Like,
isn't it?
Yeah. Well, and you know, like again, because I know you and I love you, I think there are a lot of people that are of the traditional mindset that would look at your trajectory and go, "Oh, well, clearly he didn't apply himself, or clearly there wasn't enough, you know, investment on his part to like actually complete anything. Oh, he must be, you know, just some sort of degenerate." I would argue that Brandon is one of the hardest motherfucking workers on the planet. And that the system was just not meant to help someone like him succeed. You know, the system failed you, in my opinion. I don't think you entirely should be held responsible for what happened or didn't happen.
Culpability is an interesting thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a fucking hot potato.
Oh, yeah. No, totally. So, like...
And for me, like, so what I figured out, though, that the longer you just hold the potato, the cooler it gets. If you just hold the fucking thing,
hold that potato,
feel it out for a while instead of chucking it immediately, it cools off.
That's the funniest.
But if you can't stand the heat when the potato is in your hands, you want to chuck it to somebody else.
Yeah. So can you share with us a little bit of like your motivations in building the Columbia Jazz Orchestra? And for the record, this organization exists to this day. I mean, it was founded, what, in 15, 13?
14.
13.
14.
Okay.
It was 14.
14. Yep. And it still stands to this day. They're still playing gigs and they're still, you know, working.
Last Monday night of the month, Broadway Brewery.
Nice.
Columbia, Missouri.
So like what were some of your motivations in building that community? Like why did you want to do it? And then how did you execute that?
I fucking missed big band music.
Oh, me too.
I fucking missed playing in big band. I missed it so much I couldn't stand it anymore. And on top of that, I had a lot of friends who also missed playing in big band,
Mm-hmm.
and where that was a place we could show up and like express ourselves in these very specific ways. Like what's cool about big band is that like it's sort of hierarchical and it's sort of not.
Mm-hmm.
Like your lead players are in charge of distributing like like your swing feel and your rhythmic feel to the rest of the section.
Mm-hmm.
And but that's like kind of it. And then the lead trumpet player is like principally in charge of
Mm-hmm.
disseminating time feel to the rest of the like all the horn sections, right? But as
Mm-hmm.
far as hierarchy goes, that's about the end of the list.
Mm-hmm.
And those things are just roles. Like being the lead player doesn't necessarily mean you're better than anybody else. Like I played a lot of lead in that band where I was the worst player on the line.
Mm-hmm.
I was playing lead because I can project
Mm-hmm.
and because I have the humility to listen to my section, find the fucking tightest groove and project that out
Mm-hmm.
instead of relying on my own.
Mm-hmm.
Being a lead trumpet player, you're the sixth member of the rhythm section,
Yeah, man.
right?
Yep.
It's this like really specific dynamic. The big band is a specific dynamic, and I had a lot of friends who like I missed the shit out of it, and I had a lot of friends who missed it. And then it turned out I had some, let's just say, PDF charts from possibly public domain sources, from questionable sources otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, the means of production.
Mm-hmm.
And I also knew some guys with some keys to some school band rooms around town.
Mm-hmm.
So we got together and started rehearsing on stolen charts and trespassing on property.
Okay, so that's the how.
Yeah. The why is because there was something in my soul that had to do it. There was something in me that had to bring back the big band thing. There was just some special interest kind of thing. Well, like I couldn't see it all at the time. Like I'm not sure I can see it all now,
Mm-hmm.
but there's this special interest thing about it where I just like I needed to bring back a big band,
Mm-hmm.
and I needed to prove that that town in Missouri could sustain a big band because I had been told that it was a lost cause
Mm-hmm.
by the prior, let's say, iteration of the band.
Yeah.
Right. I had heard and I quote, "Big bands are dinosaurs. They're dying out. We have to face it."
Right.
That was some of the leadership of the prior iteration of the band that I founded with my friends.
Mm-hmm. And I think what's interesting is your fervent like need to communicate in that way and participate in this art form actually changed the musical economy of that town. And for those of you who have
Yeah.
not lived and gigged in Columbia, Missouri, like at least when I showed up and when you were there as well, you were lucky if you could get $50 out of a gig, like really lucky, especially if it was something as niche as big band. And what I admire about your having built the big band community there, having built Kojo, having built an audience for that, is not only did you provide a place for people to engage with this music and engage with this art form, but that you also raised the standards of all the musicians who were engaged in it. They started asking for more on gigs and they started to get more on gigs. I really admired that about the way you built that community. How did you do that? I don't think everybody can claim that they've changed the musical economy of the town that they're in.
Huh. Well, I demanded it.
Okay.
I just said, standard rate's $50 a man an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
And did you ever get any pushback?
I used a little bit of foot in the door technique. So I had like a couple of upcharges, right? I would like invoice on like a 10% finder's fee and a 10%, oh God, what did I call it? No, 10% admin fee and then a 10% maintenance, like band maintenance fee, like
Sure.
Overhead. But really those two extra 10% charges were wiggle room for me to negotiate. Like I almost always knocked off the 10% admin fee.
Uh-huh.
If I got it, I took it because like that was my pay for booking the gig.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
I waived it at the drop of a hat using the social psychology foot in the door principle.
Right.
Okay, well here's what this costs. Like, oh, can you do like, can you, because like they're always at least back in those days, always trying to negotiate us down, always trying to
Of
negotiate us
course.
down. And I'm
Oh
just
no, it
like,
hasn't changed.
right.
Like, and I was just gonna say, like,
And
was
so
there
I
any
had these
like
like
real
fake,
pushback? Like, did anybody
well, so
ever?
these negotiations are about power.
Yeah.
And they're about people feeling like they're wearing the daddy pants.
Right.
So if you have a couple things that you secretly don't give a single fuck about sacrificing that you can give to them to like boost their ego, guess what? My guys got paid fucking $50 a man an hour literally every time we gigged outside the brewery, which we did for free for the community. Like that was our commercial. That was our marketing, was the once a month, the 1 gig a month. It's free, open to the public. That's what we really like. That's the authentic experience for the band, at least when I was there.
Yeah.
If you come down there and you want to buy my band as the status symbol for your corporate party, you go pay for it.
Yeah. Got you.
Because I know what the fuck you're buying.
Did you have anybody ever try to like
know.
Try to undercut you or?
Oh, absolutely. Like pretty much that was pretty much a universal. Oh wait, you mean other musicians trying to undercut me?
No. I mean like venues, like, you know, because they can be slimy.
Venues.
You know what I mean? They're like, oh, they're promising this and then doing something else.
Yeah, venues are going to be slimy and they're going to try to manipulate you. They're going to try to make you feel like what you're doing isn't worth money. It's a lie.
Yeah.
Because they're coming from a standpoint of, especially if you're working with, like, hate to say it, but especially if you're working with like the rich TM, like it's always about status and it's about power.
Right.
It's about being able to go and brag to your friends. They're like, oh, I booked the Columbia Jazz Orchestra for my like whatever party. Right. Okay, motherfucker, you can pay.
Yeah, exactly.
And like we ain't playing this game about like trying to like negotiate. Like we're not playing what my guys get paid, and that was just fundamental underlying, just like I will not fucking budge on that thing within me. Like it's that autistic like demand for justice.
Absolutely.
I get my guys paid.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And so I just like repeatedly insisted on it, and I leveraged what I knew intuitively to be true about the way the market works. For example, there's this time we were going to play a New Year's Eve show at like the biggest, like most prestigious, and I want to get to the idea of prestige at some point, but the most like quote unquote prestigious venue in town. Like, well, you play this venue, you've made it, right?
Yeah.
And so I get the band booked for a New Year's Eve show, and like it's going to be huge. And like it's awesome. Like this is like a great milestone for us, like for the recognition of the band and like for all that. Well, we're getting to about a month before New Year's, and venue owner starts trying to negotiate me down on price and like telling me like, well, I want to put the DJ set in the middle of your 2 sets. I'm like, all right, cool, but if we have to be there, you're paying us, and like you wanted to argue with that, and so I get the dreaded like businesses. In the email chains to businesses, please call me at your earliest convenience. Like it's designed to be intimidating, right?
Right.
So I get this email, but I respond to it by immediately calling as it came in real time. Like I'm like, oh no, motherfucker. I fucking hit call. And I open by saying, look, I know you got at least $5,000 behind Facebook ads for this show. And what I'm asking you to pay my band is less than half of that. And so you're either going to pay that, or I will go to Facebook for free and post that my band will be appearing at the Broadway Brewery on New Year's Eve instead of at your venue. What are you going to do? My guys got paid $50 a man an hour, and they got paid to sit to the DJ set.
Nice. Dude, right on.
I waived the finder's fee as a courtesy.
Yeah, right. But I think you touched on something that's extremely relevant, especially as of late, because I think there's a lot of people that people on the booking side that are now viewing music as like on demand, right? Because musicians are available at the touch of a button through AI, and there's a lot of musicians really feeling the pinch. Like, oh God, my entire like value as a human, because it's so attached to our art. Oh my God, my entire value as a human is being completely obliterated by AI. Like, do you have any thoughts on like what that really means for the musical landscape and how we can navigate that?
So what I'll immediately say is no, it doesn't. AI is not obliterating your humanity as an artist, because AI has no humanity. And that is this enormous capitalistic weak point. AI slop, if it's not doing it already, is guaranteed to cause a market vacuum for authentic human artistic performance.
With you there.
Like, AI writes music for commercials,
Mm-hmm.
music that you should ignore,
Mm-hmm.
music that's meant to be ignorable.
Mm-hmm.
But music is not necessarily an ignorable phenomenon. People who want ignorable music definitionally have something else they want people to be paying attention to. Does that make sense?
It does make sense,
If,
but it sounds
if you're
like you're making an
commissioning,
argument for AI.
no,
I would
absolutely
argue
not.
against it.
I'm not making an argument for AI. I'm making an argument that AI can't fulfill the function of music. AI can only fulfill the short-sighted function of music in the perspective of those who want ignorable music because they want something else, like a product, to be the focus.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right. But I don't think
great
that
art
justifies using
supports-
AI to write commercial music. I mean, there's plenty of people that make their entire living writing commercial music.
Stop writing ignorable music. The market shifting. The market shifting. Let the robots do that shit. You get together with your friends
That's an
and go out
interesting
to a
take,
bar
man.
and get on a stage and play some shit that ain't perfect.
Yeah.
And watch people love it.
Yeah.
Watch people fucking love it. Watch people thrash on the floor. Watch people connect with you. Because that's the thing that AI can't do. Did we already do the fucking thing about AI?
No, we're talking about AI now.
All right, so I wrote this paper earlier in the semester, and I was talking about how like people are using AI for like therapy purposes.
Uh-huh.
And we were like supposed to look at that and figure out, because I mean, like, also the industry is starting to incorporate AI as far as like taking down notes in your therapy sessions and like writing them up, which I'm not a huge fan of, because who are you going to sell those prompts? That's not the point.
Whoa. Yeah, no doubt.
My point is that
Yikes, that's fucking scary.
Yeah. And this applies to art as well as mental health, but it's that, and I wrote, genuine human connection is so important in the behavioral health field because while psychological research may be a scientific process, psychological treatment is an artistic process.
Mm-hmm.
Science deals with the measurable and repeatable. Art deals with the subjective and the unquantifiable. AI art and music and AI therapists and counselors share the same missing component: the ability to sense a vibe.
Damn.
AI can never connect with a person. At best, a person can connect to an AI. And this connection ranks somewhere below parasocial relationship to human celebrity on the hierarchy of authenticity of human connection. My point is this.
Wow.
As artists, we have to connect with people.
Yeah.
AI ain't going to do it. AI definitionally can't do it. There is the market niche weakness, is connection.
Totally. Yeah. Without a doubt.
Like, attention economy, right? Like the world we live in, it's all based on like keeping you glued to your fucking phone and selling you shit through sheer like classical conditioning combined with random variable reward like addiction boosting mechanisms.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that nobody really likes living like this.
Mm-mm.
It feels like shit. It feels like, I mean, it keeps your mind like so hazy and unfocused, and there's so many people, even like not even just neurodivergent people, neurotypical people as well, like all kinds of people, not just artists. Everybody is feeling this like constant buzz of the phone vibrating in your head. It's just like it like taking the shit over. And so like as artists, as musicians, as people who create something that is designed to deal with the subjective, the intangible, the human, live performance trumps AI because it gets people out of their houses and off their fucking phones. Go play live. I don't care if you're not even like this applies. It's harder to apply this outside of music, but like I kind of don't care. Figure out a way to take your art and make it live.
And I would take that
musicians.
Yeah. No, I would take that one step further. I actually just had a conversation with a musician earlier today. They are neurodivergent and they are also queer. and we were
Yeah.
talking about them having been coping with like some severe depressive episodes and severe depressive issues.
Yep.
And we've all been there for one reason or another. I mean, let's just be fucking honest. Like, the conservatory is
Yep.
not a place to be if you want to be a healthy person in the head, because so much of it is
Yeah.
built on abusing people or making them feel bad for not practicing or making them feel
We can
otherwise
talk about
worthless.
tribalism as it applies to cultural anthropology and how the group size specifically fits that later. Yeah.
Dude, yeah, right, the whole thing. And so, to take that interaction with the human one step further is like, yes, engage in live music, go see your friends, go be a part of a community, but then, like, that's basically just getting back in your body. Like, a lot of people probably would not
Yeah.
have gotten the impression that I was super depressed back in like June or July, mostly because I'm very careful with my social media posting and all of that fun stuff, because they're like,
Right.
that in itself can be its own form of self-abuse by over posting and oversharing. But what got me out of
Yeah.
that
Okay.
place was engaging with music on an intellectual level and making art. And the other side of it was, I can't believe I'm going to say this, I took up running.
Yeah.
But both of those things put together, it got me out of a computer and into my body. And
Yeah.
that was the best possible therapy for me. So, like, do you have any suggestions like along those lines, if people find themselves in these places, like things that have worked for you or things that you would recommend to these? It is not even just creatives. I think you really hit the nail on the head. It's fucking everybody. We are all suffering the burden of technology. Do you have any
Yeah.
suggestions, like as a fellow feeling human or as a therapist or future therapist, about ways that we can combat that?
I sort of ignore social media at large and tank the inconvenience.
Oh no, I was just meaning like that feeling you were describing about being completely burdened by, being obliged by our tech all the time. We're so
Yeah,
addicted to
I
our
ignore
phones, we're
that.
so addicted to our computers.
I'm saying I ignore the obligation.
Oh, no,
There was
oh,
this
okay.
time.
Sorry. No,
There
you
was
were
this time
answering.
I was standing.
I won't lead you into that question any harder then.
No, it's cool. Like and it took time and effort, but like I ignore it. And here's where it started: was there's this time I was standing outside smoking a cigarette back home, and I just felt the urge to go smoke a cigarette.
Uh-huh.
The addictive urge that like it's time to go do your addictive thing, right?
Right.
I was standing outside smoking a cigarette, and I felt the addictive urge again.
Uh-huh.
And I realized that it was coming from my phone,
Oh.
from the fact that I needed to check my phone and see what notifications were there, see what does it have to say now. And it felt exactly the same as it had felt 5 minutes prior when I knew I needed a cigarette.
Whoa.
And it pissed me off.
Wow. Damn.
And I was just done. At that point, I was like, okay, the instant I don't have to promote my band using this bullshit anymore, I'm fucking Audi 5000, which is why you haven't seen anything on Facebook from me in 3 years.
Oh, no, absolutely. I'm so glad to reconnect with you now.
Right? Like, and that was, dude, and that's the hardest thing is like, I know I'm leaving behind like connections with people that I'm not normally going to see. And that pissed me off even further because it used you guys as hostages.
Mm-hmm.
And
oh my God, could we could talk about that. Oh my God, can we ever talk about that?
Yep.
Because so as we were speaking about music schools and other like arts institutions being a tribe and or a cult, depending on which way you want to slant that,
Yeah.
social media does the same thing. And the irony of this is like, as I'm building the Rogue Academic, I'm doing my best to be a good example of how you can build a social media presence that actually serves you and serves others. But in doing so, like I had this huge come to Jesus with Eric, my fiance, just like last week about like the mental toll that being that example and being that consistent has burdened me with. And he was just like, well, I think you're doing it wrong. And I'm like, sweetie, of the two of us, I'm the one with the Instagram following. You have a longer standing like online presence for your website. But if I want to be an example of this, then I need to do this right. And the fact of the matter was that in that conversation, we were both right. He was right that I am doing
Yep.
it wrong, and I was right
Yep.
that I have to still do something. And so
Yep.
basically through that conversation, we sort of revamped, what the strategy could be for someone in a creative position who wants to put forth, great content for an audience that doesn't have to take just doesn't have to sell their soul to do it, take a huge toll
Right.
on themselves. And so like I was just curious, like aside from obviously just like not engaging with it, what your continuing thoughts are on building a community and making sure that you're engaging with other humans if it's not going to be social media. Like what are some other things that have worked for you now that you're now that you're not addicted to social media, now that you kick the habit?
Addicted to plenty of other shit, but
Woo!
at least those things get me high or drunk.
Oh my
Serve some
god.
sort of function.
Yay.
No, my thing is, if we want to fight this depersonalization and dehumanization thing that's sort of happening with algorithmic technology, I'm an increasing believer, and like I guess looking back on it, like I guess I've always been a behavior or a believer in this, but like of going out in real life and spending real time in the same room with people. It sounds platitudinal, but it ain't. There's these things that, like, especially for us, like our age, Lexie, like
Mm-hmm.
we grew up in the 1990s and early 2000s, and like there was this really cynical time, right?
Oh yeah.
And like avoiding any sort of like platitudinal positivity was like a huge cultural thing. Like you didn't want to be stupid and believe in that shit, right?
Right.
But
Right.
it turns out like intuition is real, feelings are real, human beings don't actually do shit purely objectively, and connection is hardwired.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of why, going back to Levitin, Daniel Levitin, this is your brain on music, like the hardwired blueprint to actually I'm not going to go back to Lebanon. The hardwired blueprint to make music is in every one of us,
Mm-hmm.
professional or not.
Mm-hmm.
It's hardwired in us to connect with art,
Mm-hmm.
and it's because art is how we connect with each other and understand each other before we meet each other, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, to a more concrete example, like you go out to a live show and it's a self-selection bias thing, right? That
Mm-hmm.
crowd is.
Mm-hmm.
It's all people who connect with this music, connect with this art, connect with this thing that we all came out together to see,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to you are. So in this situation, you took your ass up off the couch and went out to the bar to see a band, as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to it got piped through your phone to you.
Yeah.
Somebody else knows what you're going to see.
Mm-hmm.
If you have to physically get up and go out of your way to see something, you made that choice.
Yeah.
And so did everybody else in that room with you.
Right.
When the choice gets piped into you, yeah, you're in a virtual room. And like, not to say that all like online connection is invalid or anything like that. Like we all lived through the pandemic. We all survived on
We
it.
sure
Like,
did.
right. Right. But it's actually because of the pandemic and because we had to survive on that for so long that I don't know, I see this vacuum for connection.
Yeah.
And so like I ignore social media and focus way harder on the real connections I make in my life. And do I have 1,000 friends as a result? No, I got like 2
Right.
here.
Yeah.
Like not counting like of course I have very, 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 very dear friends from all throughout my past. Like, but we've all spread out
Right.
across the
Yeah.
country, and so doing it without social media this time, like like I got one. Like, I don't have as quote unquote many friends as I used to, but the quality of those connections is really, really strong.
Yeah.
Really, really, really strong. And I mean, like, so there's one friend of mine, like, she's working on a movie. She's an artist, she's a visual artist, and she wants to do an animated movie. And
Mm-hmm.
so she's working on this movie it's a power of friendship slash heist movie
Nice.
that occurs in a not too distant future in which artists must have state qualification in order to have access to in order to buy things like instruments or paper or paints or
What?
yep.
That's fucking wild.
And that one's career, in order to have a viable career as an artist in this future, one must become certified and then basically go make art to feed the AI.
Wow. I feel
Independent
like
art
we're
is
not that far
banned.
from that. Holy shit.
She wrote this before Trump named himself head of the Kennedy Center, actually.
Holy fuck.
Yep.
Okay.
And so it's just this movie about these four friends who are in a band and are like guerrilla gigging, right? Like underground, like risking their freedom, like breaking the law in order to do so. And that's what a heist movie trope, like the heist thing, like sort of fits in, is like they have to literally do like Ocean's 11 style heist just to get materials to play shows.
Oh my God.
Or record tunes or whatever. And then they have to, it like has a speakeasy thing about it, right? Like the origins of jazz. Because I would I'd call the movie a theater kid's love letter to punk.
Aww.
Or maybe it's a punk's love letter to theater kids. One way or the other. She's very much both. But I think that her concept speaks really strongly to where we are as artists.
Yeah.
The movie is about connection. The movie's about the four friends getting to know each other and like getting into conflict sometimes, and then also learning how to forgive each other and learning how to make things together while still loving one another, which is a hard thing to do as an artist sometimes, especially when you've come up in a academic, competitive, I have to be better than my neighbor kind of environment, right?
Well, and shit, let's talk about that for a minute. You know, like while I was, and I mentioned this in episode 0 a little bit, while I was at Indiana University, the mental toll that was taken on all the majors there was so intense that they actually opened a counseling center in the Jacobs School of Music so that people could come out of their lessons probably crying, let's be honest, and go directly to a counselor to make sure that they were not in danger to themselves or others, of course, but to cope with the oppression of, you know, the pressure of being a part of a music school that is so prestigious. And, you know, I think there's something to be said for your theory that prestige is a cult and that, you know, we should question all of that.
I mean,
like what
Lexie, I mean, like, let's be honest here right now, Lexie. How many soul hours and physical hours have you put in search of prestige?
Oh my God.
Okay.
Oh my God. We don't have enough time in this podcast or life to talk about that.
And you've been manipulated, and I did too. It wasn't until I abandoned the idea of seeking prestige that I was able to make anything.
Thank you. Me too. So I just put out a single on YouTube and I'm having all kinds of issues with distribution. So anybody at Lander, if you're listening, you can eat a dick. Your company needs to actually employ people in your customer service department. And yes, Sweetwater, I'm talking to you. At any rate, oh no, seriously, like I could go on, but I'm having issues with distribution, so I just decided, you know what, I'm gonna put this on YouTube. I'm just gonna put it out there, and like you would not believe the mental struggle, or maybe you would, you know, the mental struggle that I went through putting this single out into the world, because it's not contemporary art music for trumpet. It is not music that would be approved by the academia that large, you know, like this bullshit prestige that, you know, like, am I proud to be a Hoosier? Am I proud to have a doctorate? Absolutely. But like, do I think that all of the things that go along with that are bullshit? Yes, that too. That too. And so I struggled to put this thing in the world. Sorry, go ahead. This is your podcast.
So I'm having phone rhythm issues.
No, you're good.
My thing is like, it wouldn't be approved or whatever, but do you love the single you put out?
I fucking love every minute of it.
Did you personally think it slaps?
Yes, I do. And you know what's interesting?
Did you have a blast putting it together?
Yes.
Then fuck everybody.
Exactly.
Then fuck everybody.
Well, there's a moral to the story though. So I put this thing out in the world and, you know, my friends have listened to it and that's cool. One of my friends runs a brass quintet in Chicago and he reached out to me after having heard it and he said, hey, This is awesome. You sound amazing. And my quintet wants to do a rock and roll album here in the next year or two. Would you be willing to be the engineer on that album? Like, if, like, did you do
Oh
all
yeah.
of this? And I said, yes, other than play guitar and rhythm section. And he's like, yeah, you clearly know what you're doing. Would you be willing to be the engineer? And I said, yeah, absolutely. So, you know, like that's sort of the moral of the story is just like, yeah, you don't have to do all the stuff that like everyone tells you to because they tell you
Yep.
to. If you do the stuff
Yep.
that makes your heart happy, you're going to end up
Yep.
better off in the end. That was my
Yep.
take.
Yep. I mean, and what's interesting about that is it's at least on a surface level incompatible with the idea of being a mercenary. But like, I think we should explore the idea that being a mercenary isn't what you have to do all the time. You can do it some of the time if you want to, but
Mhm.
like the entire point of going to school and learning how to do art, you go to college to get an education, not for job training. You are paying. If you're the student, you're fucking paying.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
That means this is your playground to go and grab this and grab that and learn the things that you want to know, to learn how to do shit you want.
Mhm.
And anytime anybody tells you that you're wasting your time taking the shit you learn in classes and applying it to what matters to you, anybody tells you that's a waste of time, they're concerned about the reflection on their institution. And they are throwing that trolley lever and putting your soul, your connection to your art on the other side of that trolley to save their institutional reputation,
Dude,
right?
that's so fucked up. I never thought about it from that perspective, but that's exactly what that is.
Yep.
Like, I mean, and don't get me wrong, I've seen through the elitist bullshit for years now. But like that's exactly what that is. And in my opinion, like the way it's looked to me is that they're trying to make a bunch of like an army of little miniature thems to eventually
Yep.
replace themselves. And the problem that I have with that is that they're not actually letting anyone in. Like, sure, I
Yep.
can teach trumpet at the collegiate level. I could teach an ensemble. I can do all the things that I was trained to do. But you guys won't even let me in the goddamn door to do it, let alone stay
Yep.
long enough to get my little, you know, golden parachute, as they call it, right?
Yeah.
So, god damn. I never thought about it in those terms, Brandon.
I mean, you have consistently found yourself on the losing side of the trolley.
Lucky me.
And that happens to those of us that mm, that happens to those of us outliers.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
if we're outliers, we are definitionally in the minority. We are definitionally the one you kill to save the five.
Yeah.
And that's not sustainable for us. We can't live like that. We can't maintain a soul like that. We can't be artists like that.
Mm-mm.
And I feel like there's a certain degree of like certain like, and this is not, I have no papers to back this up. This is just me like spitballing, like,
Sure.
but I feel like there is maybe sort of an aspiration or an aspect of what the fuck is it called? Generational abuse? No, generational trauma.
Generational trauma.
Generational trauma within academic music, right? So you were saying you did everything right, and you still got you still got shown the door
Yeah.
more often than not,
Oh, yeah.
right? Well, the people that did everything right and were the right thing, which is the thing
Mm-hmm.
you were missing,
Yeah, that lack of
they
a
end up in
penis is a real problem for me, it seems.
we're gonna do my penis envy roast later, given that you I lost my train of thought. So
Sorry,
I
dude.
was
I
trying
had
to
to make the
say
joke
that
because it's fucking true. I mean, if I was a man, like at least I'm white, you know, if I was a man and I was neurotypical, like as a trumpet professor, I would still be at Indiana State teaching trumpet because I wouldn't make so many people uncomfortable.
if you didn't make people uncomfortable, if you didn't have your neurodivergent demand for justice you would have fallen into the normalization trap of abusive academics.
Boom.
If your professor is abusive when you were coming up in undergrad,
Uh-huh.
master's, whatever,
Uh-huh.
and you start to take pride in your ability to tank that abuse, and the abuse becomes normalized, and then you go back and fucking Stockholm's your way through revising your narrative. Well, it was good that that professor was so awful to me because as a result, I learned this and this and this. And then you decide on the ethical principle of beneficence to override non-maleficence and pass that abuse down to your students because, hey, it worked for me. And then the system rewards those that do that because of its adherence to tradition.
Yeah.
You end up with ostensibly a definitionally toxic environment.
Shock. No one is shocked. No one is at all surprised. I mean, this is exactly the reason that they had to open a freaking counseling center in the bottom of the Jacob School of Music. Like, I mean,
Well,
like I said, I count myself lucky that all my teachers were awesome, but I know so many people at that school that were in that counseling center weekly
yeah,
because of the abuses of their professors.
yep. I mean, I remember back in the day, we used to have a couple professors that would openly brag on how many students they made cry that week.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Real cool, real fucking cool, bro.
Uh-huh.
Real fucking cool.
Yeah, I bet you
Like,
feel like such a
that
man,
was a
don't you?
Freudian slip. I meant to say cool, but I accidentally said cruel. And isn't that where we are?
It is. It is. Nope, none of this is fucking sustainable at all whatsoever. So do you have, like, now that we're sort of both on the other side of this, do you have any, like, insight as to, you know, what you would tell someone coming up as a creative that, you know, whether they want to go to school or they don't want to go to school, they just want to do creative shit for a living or at least express themselves creatively and build a community for themselves? What sort of advice would you give them?
Well, I can't speak very well to how to be creative and make your living. I have never successfully done that, so I'm not going to bother.
Fair enough.
What I can speak to is how to make art on your own terms,
Nice.
which is to not rely on it for your living.
Mm-hmm.
I there's this bit in episode 0 we were like you were talking about like the first I think your first teaching job when that shit like all went under and you're like, man, should I have gone and waited tables?
Yep.
Well, I went and cooked. I'm cooking now. Like
Yep.
when I'm on Fridays when I don't have class because my school is awesome because every class is on Friday. I'm slinging ramen at a ramen joint. And back in the day, like I was talking about Kojo and performing at Broadway Brewery the last Monday night of every month. Well, I was also working in the kitchen there
Right.
at Broadway Brewery.
Yeah.
And what I did, as it turns out, looking back, is I found a place where I could go and make money even though I was unapologetically myself. And that wasn't even always a good thing when I was at the brewery. Like those were some of my drunkest and most insane days, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was a period of time when I was there where I was actively insane. It kind of sucked. Like being kind of insane, cool. Actively insane sucks.
Wow.
But it kept me alive. And it meant that I had fingers in the place where I was making art and I got to do whatever I wanted there.
Yeah.
And I got to see it through on my vision. Like, I don't know, a lot of shit that happens. You guys, here's another thing, going back to your TED Talk and your episode 0,
Mm-hmm.
you getting told to tone it down.
Oh yeah, that was a fun day. Yeah, that comment for the record, that comment came from a woman who, after my TED Talk aired and it became public that I was an autistic person, decided to address me, a fellow faculty member, like this because she thought that being autistic meant that I was severely cognitively impaired. She spoke to me that way in front of other professors.
Well, she was just revealing her own ignorance, wasn't she?
Oh,
And there's
absolutely.
another quote you had: "When you're ignorant, you got balls."
It's so true. It's so
That's
true.
some balls, ain't it?
Mm-hmm. Ain't that the
Well, I
truth?
hear the thing about balls. Like, what you're doing with this podcast is fucking heroic.
Well, thanks.
Because,
Jeez, thanks.
seriously, because you're taking what you learned and you're applying it to expose the truth.
Yes, sir.
Employment prospects be damned. And
Bingo.
that's the great thing about being an artist and having other employment prospects.
That weird.
Is you kind of can do stuff like that. Part of the reason we have somehow ended up in the same place, despite our enormously different paths, is that I didn't, because you learn things the hard way on your side, and you actually did make it. Yeah, Dr. Lexie. Yeah, I'm a little nasty.
Yeah.
You're Dr. Lexie, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it means jack shit.
I am Dr. Nothing, and it means jack shit.
Right?
What we both seek is the grounds to take what we have learned and apply it in our own way. We have to do this. We're neurodivergent. We kind of can't escape it. And so that's the thing about capitalism and art, right? Is that art is something, if you are an artist, if you're a person that's in art school, you're not, yeah, maybe you're there because you want to do it as a living, but not really. You're there because you have to do it, because you have to make art. And you know this internally. And that unfortunately makes us very vulnerable to a capitalist system. What is the premium on something that a person is going to do anyways?
Right. I think a better
Which
question.
is how you end up in like pay for play kind of situations where you're paying the venue for the stage. You're like, fuck that, right?
Right.
Like, fuck all of that.
But I think
it's incompatible. It's incompatible. If you have art in you that if you have that fire in you that just burns, no matter what.
Yeah.
Selling the fire is difficult when it's infinite.
Oh,
and
yeah.
People try to take advantage of that fact, right?
So true.
What you're doing, you're just doing this for fun, so I don't really have to pay you, right? If they pay you, they get to choose what you play. If they don't, they don't.
Right.
And really, figuring out your own terms, you got to have something in your back pocket to where if the person you're negotiating says no, you can be like, all right, cool. I don't need you after all.
Exactly.
You don't serve me. I don't need you.
Yep. And you just hit on why I started the Rogue Academic. That's 100% the thing, is like you should always be able to do what to actively engage with that fire in your soul to keep the lights on, so that you do not have to be beholden to some gold holder that makes the rules.
Yeah. And if you can find a job that doesn't put your art on the line, but that results in you working your 40 hours a week with other artists who are also just looking for something that keeps the lights on, man, some cool shit can happen.
It really can.
Some cool shit can happen at your day job.
Yeah.
You meet people that think the same way as you, or doing the same thing as you, and you can start to build a culture around it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like art is culture, right? Because culture is expression and culture is art, and it's the, cyclic thing. But I have, the way I've done things is by making sure my eggs are all in one basket, and I can take a hard ass negotiating stance because I have somewhere else to go.
Facts. Same. Absolutely.
And if you're an artist right now, there is somewhere for you to go. There is a crowd that's going to like what you do. There is, if the internet has taught us anything, it's that there is a niche for everything. And if learning how to apply scale teaches us anything, it's that it is possible to do organically, because it always was done organically.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you use your performance as a filter. So tone it down. We were talking about tone it down.
Right.
And here's one of these things in very Eurocentric, classical focused music departments that don't pay that much attention to jazz. It's like, the jazz players need to tone it down. It's too raucous. It's too out of control. It's too
Right.
like they want to teach jazz in a way that's closer to the Eurocentric blendy kind of sound ideal, as
Uh-huh.
opposed to the individualistic expression of the big band, which is more democratic on a soul level, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And so I used that raucous aesthetic of the big band in the Broadway brewery, which has low ceilings and is in the basement,
Yeah.
to filter out the folks for whom they would like me to tone it down.
Yeah.
I didn't listen to the critics. I played it. We played it our way until the critics left
Mhm.
and the lovers were packing the bar,
Yeah.
standing room only.
I remember I was
Be
there.
you.
Yeah.
Be you, and the people that like you will show up.
Damn
It just
straight.
takes a little time. Use
Absolutely.
yourself as a filter, because authenticity is what's about a sell. Used to be sex sells.
Right. Nope.
Nowadays, authenticity sells.
Because
What are you
that is
doing
one
right here,
thing AI
Lexie?
can't do. An algorithm can't do that.
Yep, it can't do authenticity because it can't experience. It
Yep.
can't have experiences, therefore it can't communicate experience. Therefore, it can't make art because art communicates experience.
Yep. Totally. So,
It's not a competitor.
no, not at all. So,
It's not an actual competitor if you know what art is.
yeah, exactly. So along the way, obviously we have gone down a lot of rabbit holes and like we've shared a lot of experiences up until this point. Obviously you don't get through this without a couple of things that like get a light bulb on for you, right? So what are like 3 game-changing ideas or even gadgets that have just made your life like so much easier as an self-proclaimed undiagnosed neurodivergent person, or just in general to keep your sanity together? Like what has helped you? What are 3 things that have helped you sort of navigate that you couldn't possibly live without now that you've learned?
Gadgets hate me. Technology kind of hates me. So I can't go gadgets, but ideas.
Yeah, let's go.
If you're an artist, your friends are everything. The people you're close to are everything. The people you're close to are the ones that make the light bulbs go off. The ones like the people in your life that make you go, oh man, if I wrote this one very specific song, this one very specific friend of mine would think this is hilarious because it's like an inside joke. But to
Yeah.
everybody else, nobody knows it's just a great tune.
Yeah.
But that's what puts you in front of your keyboard or your computer or whatever to put it together.
Uh-huh.
Like friends are everything.
Mhm.
Friends and people are connection. Like that's a concept that I can't live without, is that we need each other. Yep. That's what I'm gonna go with.
Okay.
That's number 1.
Okay.
Number 2 is the idea that you have value, no matter who you are, by virtue of you have a unique set of experiences that makes up who you are. Becoming friends with people half my age at community college has like taught me a shitload. I have learned as much, if not more, from them than I have from my professors, and my professors have like pretty much categorically been pretty awesome.
Nice.
But any person you encounter, their experience is unique, and therefore there's something that can be learned from it and can be taken from it. Fuck hierarchy, fuck credentials, fuck status, fuck stratification, fuck all of it.
Mhm.
We're just people scrambling around a rock, talking to each other sometimes.
Mhm.
Listen. Listen to them. Number 3, perfection ain't everything. We get taught in music school to make it perfect. And there is absolutely a value to knowing the procedure behind getting something to as close to perfect as you can. But I don't know about you, Lexie, but I have played in my entire career one perfect gig.
Yeah, I've never played
And
a perfect gig.
by that I mean one where I didn't technically make a mistake. Were there
Sure.
some phrasing things that could be done better? Were there some where I could have been more emotionally involved? For sure. But like, did I play a wrong note at the wrong time at any point? I've done that one time in my career.
Right.
Literally once.
Sure.
Working with Kojo And always when I could, if I had enough like people to have a split lead player, I would. And if there were only 4 parts, I would take the tune off and go stand by the bar and listen to my band. Mistakes don't make it off this. Individual mistakes don't make it off the stage. You can't hear. You can't hear them.
Right.
Because if there's 20 people in a big band, one person fucks up, the other 19 cover it.
Yeah.
And I like my literal job as the director of the group was to hear mistakes and diagnose and repair them. Once I got off the stage and was standing by the bar, my band sounded perfect. Yeah. I knew for a fact they weren't because no band is, but they sounded perfect.
Yep.
Perfection is way overrated. It's impossible. It's not attainable in the first place. That being said, the pursuit of perfection can serve you so long as you recognize that up front.
Sure. Absolutely.
Pursuing perfection is fine so long as you know you're never going to attain it. The best you can do is get as close to it as you are personally capable of.
Yeah. And I think that's the inherent fallacy of the way we are taught in the academy, is that we have all these professors breathing down our throat about perfection, about tradition, and all this shit. And it actually has nothing to do with the music at all. It's just them spewing their own generational trauma at you because they had a professor that did it to them.
Yeah. Like a little bit, right? And yeah, Eurocentric supremacy is definitely a thing. Like, fuck all that. The principles of playing classical music correctly apply to classical music. Overall, you're actually there to learn how to operate your particular tool in a way that you enjoy and does what you need to do for yourself.
Absolutely. All right, last question. This is a silly one, and I always include a silly one. If you were a flavor of ice cream, what flavor of ice cream would you be?
Pralines and dick.
I knew the delivery was going to be mint. Like, we've been so serious for like an hour, and I knew that the last question was just going to be straight off the deep end.
That's all I do.
Fuck yeah! Pralines and dicks. Oh my god, that's hilarious. Well, dude, do you have any closing thoughts for us before we head on out of here? That was fucking hilarious.
Oh, you know what? I'll close on this. I'll pull up my penis envy roast.
Ooh, we love a good penis envy roast.
Freud's theory of penis envy has aged both terribly and excellently. Correctly identifying a feeling within some women of envy, anxiety, or animosity towards men and maleness, he proceeds to explain it with an untestable theory seemingly designed as a personal affront to Occam's razor. It must be the lack of a penis. Not the lack of a right to vote, own property, self-determined parenthood, or self-determined anything without male input, unintentional, regrettable, yet accurate. Nope, it's the lack of penis. By sheer accident, he cataloged evidence of symptoms of chronic oppression in women and then proceeded to almost get to the cause. His failure to recognize that it was not the lack of penis, but the lack of basic rights that at the time coincided with penis ownership cements his penis envy theory in history as a comedically self-satirizing indictment of patriarchal systems.
Nailed it.
There you go.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. Well, dude, thank you so much for taking the hour to hang and just share your experiences and your story with us. I know that there are so many people that are listening that are just going, holy shit, some of that's relatable. And that's the whole fucking point, right? And I think you're absolutely right that, you know, these human to human connections are far more important than algorithmic or AI connections. And I just really appreciate you taking the time to share with us.
It's been a blast, Lexie. It's been a blast. You're a fucking hero, dude. I'm so proud of you. Like,
Thank you.
This is nothing short of heroic.
I
You're
appreciate
telling
it.
the truth.
I do what I can, and I'm going to keep doing it because no one can fucking stop me.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, villain era.
Get to where no one can stop you.
Yep. That's a great piece of advice. All right. And that about does it for us here at the Rogue Academic Podcast. Thank you so much for listening to that Tale of Two Trumpeters. We appreciate you being here. And if you haven't already, Go check out hideawaycoffee.com. That's HYDEawaycoffee.com of Fort Wayne, Indiana. They are our sponsors of this episode. For 10% off your favorite roast, enter Rogue10 at the checkout. Speaking of checking out, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and all the places where you get your podcasts. And we just launched a self-promotion sneak attack for anyone wanting to monetize the skills that they learned in school. You can find that through our Facebook group. That's the Self-Promotion Sneak Attack on Facebook. Thanks again, everybody, and we'll catch you next week.